What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Heaven 17, and we're returning to the Luxury Gap, 1983, and the next tune is Temptation. Another single word title. Those are notoriously difficult to get a read on, but the concept is clear enough. The enticement to some engagement, some enjoyment, or often sensual type of activity, the idea of being lured and siren called toward a perhaps vice, or the at least superficial enjoyment that could cause harm or be deleterious in some other ways. So yeah, the idea of temptation is pretty straight away, but as to whether someone succumbs to it, as to what type of temptation it is, as to whether the temptation will have ramifications beyond the individual who is being enticed in that way is unclear without more context or information. So I'll see what I can pick up on a first listen. Luca, have you decided whether you're going to sit in the lap or go to the chair? Maybe I'll help make the decision for you. No, she's going to ponder and stare at me, so that's incredibly helpful. Let's give it a listen. This is Heaven 17, the tune is Temptation, and it's from their 1983 album, The Luxury Gap.
I've never been closer, I tried to understand that certain feeling carved by another's hand. Oh, but it's too late to hesitate, we can't keep on living like this. Every second counts, I can't break away. Leave no trace, hide your face. Temptation, temptation, you can take it or leave it. Temptation.
Ooh, I like that vocal.
Step by step and day by day, every second counts, I can't break away.
Temptation, keep us from temptation. Keep us from temptation. Lead us not into temptation.
Trying to find it,
Temptation,
you got to get up behind it.
temptation,
Put your dive in the hot stuff,
temptation,
but it's a million to watch out.
temptation,
You think that you're right now,
temptation,
you're gonna face it tonight now.
temptation,
Ooh, give me a breakdown,
temptation,
because it's time for a shakedown.
It's just temptation, temptation, temptation.
fascinating tune sonically. So, yes, I mean, it does sound like there is an attempt to entice or lure. It feels like the ultimate outcome is still not entirely clear. But what I was fascinated by was the sonics, meaning at the beginning it actually felt very much like a Human League tune, not an identical voice, not Oki's voice, but sonically it felt like a lot of the Human League material I've gone through since the split, and a bit of this bright electronic 80s sound. But then there are other sonics here that sound more like the Heaven 17 I've come to know, which is to say, like a synth pop infused with soul and even a bit of like funk or gospel vibes. But there was also a bit of a Motown feel, and not only because it reminded me of some 60s tunes, including those not on Motown. Like, it reminded me with that line Higher and Higher, of course, of the Jackie Wilson song. But the voice, the female voice in particular, which I suppose is another reason it kind of reminded me of the post-split Human League. But yeah, that was incredibly soulful, almost like a 70s soul track mixed with an 80s synth-pop tune is what it felt like in the end, which, again, that feels maybe like characteristic Heaven 17 as I've come to know them. But yeah, it was a fun tune, and one that felt like it took some different sonic ingredients, like one part Motown, one part 70s soul, and one part 80s synth pop, and sort of combined it into that enthusiastic tune which spoke to temptation, but I'm not quite sure again how it all played out in the end. But I did like the balance of the male and female vocals. It gave it a two-sided feel vocally, and if the idea is that there's a temptation, a lure for one person, it must be coming from something else, or indeed someone else. So I don't know if that was specifically part of it, but it felt like there was a bit of dialogue there because of the dual vocals. Yeah, in any case, it's interesting because a couple tracks on this album already have had this socioeconomic type of feel to them, speaking to the economic realities and exploitations of the 80s. This felt like you could take some of those concepts. You can certainly be tempted to overlook morality if there's enough financial remuneration. So it feels like maybe some of those lines could be headed in that direction, but at the same time, it felt like it could just be more emotional and more interpersonal on a smaller scale. So yeah, curious to hear what people have to say about this one. Enjoy the sonics especially. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.